Hello, and we're back. We're here for our next session on GA4 and AI with Andy Crestodina and Dana DiTomaso. So I'm excited to kick us off. Andy, you want to get started? This is our second session of DudaCon.
I'm very excited to be here, and that was really, really insightful. There's a couple things that I just heard that will stick with me, and I just love this combined topic of AI and GA4. And glad to be back, guys. What do you think?
Looking great. That looks
I
awesome.
know, it's my new favorite.
So stylish.
Yeah, you guys, class, and I'm grateful and honored to be part of this. Dana, good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
It's humbling to do anything with Dana because my knowledge of GA4, GTM, all the related tools, really this is someone that I like to learn from. And so Dana, I'm going to lean on you here a bit and ask you to kind of try to improve or help me or fix the things that I'm talking about that you think could add more value. But Santi, I'm ready to jump in.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it.
Okay. Share screen. I am one of the co-founders of a digital agency called Orbit Media Studios. Orbit specializes in web development and website optimization. We do lots of things for B2B brands. I've done digital for 24 years and I've done AI for 2.4 years. It's my new favorite line. Same as the rest of us, something like that. This is, of all the research I've seen, one of my favorites because it points out that this was Harvard and I think Procter & Gamble. Analyzed the work of 600 people and found that an individual with AI currently is able to outperform a team of people without AI. Also strange, someone pointed out to me recently, something I hadn't really looked at that closely, but when you look at the difference between a team with AI and an individual with AI, it's like, wow, not that big of a difference. So our hope today is to show each of you how you can combine these two technologies, Google Analytics and generative AI, to get better results than you would from either separately. AI is an insanely versatile tool, and we can use the things that I've done every day for years and Dana's done every day for years, and just see if we can push these things farther and do more with them in a combined way. In general, there are junior GA digital marketers that know how to do reporting. That's not really the game. The best people at Google Analytics and GA4 are able to find insights and take action and form hypotheses and test performance of their actions. So a more skilled GA4 person gets the insights from there. Similarly with AI, yeah, anyone can use AI to generate ideas, but the ideas that have impact, that takes more practice, more skill, you're farther along. So our hope today is to kind of mush all that together and level up each of our skills in that combined use case of AI and GA4. Basically, we're going to be exporting reports from GA4, uploading reports to ChatGPT and asking what am I missing? What else? What can you tell me? And there's some things that really can't do without, we can do things that GA4 can't do alone. Okay, I've got the paid account. Dana, are you using a paid account of any of the AIs?
Oh yeah, we pay for ChatGPT and Claude. What about
There you
you?
go. I pay for ChatGPT and then a couple of other related. I've used Descript and a couple other things.
Oh yeah, I guess Descript counts as AI. That's what we use for all our video editing. It's incredible.
Yeah. And before we dive into this whole thing, Kickpoint, Dana, tell us about yourself.
Hi. Yeah, so I'm president and partner at Kickpoint and founder and lead instructor at Kickpoint Playbook. Kickpoint is a full-service digital marketing agency. We also do websites and optimization, SEO, PPC, and I've been doing this for 25 years, only slightly longer than Andy. And Kickpoint Playbook is a learning platform for digital marketing. We have lots of courses on GA4, including GA4 audits, which just came out, and analytics for agencies, which teaches you everything that we do at our agency, start to finish, on how to implement analytics plans.
Love it. We're going to assume that our attendees here are at least kind of a medium skill and they've got things set up well enough that they can export these reports. But I am going to upload things to ChatGPT, and I have to say that before you do that, first of all, make sure that you have permission to upload anything like that. PII and AI don't mix. Personally identifiable information and artificial intelligence, I wouldn't ever put those things together. But we're not really uploading anything that has any personal information. It's all GA4, which is anonymized data. And it'll cost you $20 US, $22.50 US, because you needed the ChatGPT Plus account to upload files. I'm going to start with pictures of two things that cost $20. One is ChatGPT Plus, which took 8 years to develop, and they spend $500 million a year to keep trained. The other is a beautiful cocktail that's 2 ounces of rye and some Angostura bitters with a splash of rosehip liqueur or vermouth. I'm going to suggest that it's worth it. I don't know why anyone would try to save $20 on this on their AI account. One fewer cocktail per month, and you can pay for your AI subscription. It seems, and is that just me? Why? And I'm a good tipper, so I'll call it 15 plus tip. Is every cocktail $15 now? What happened?
As a non-drinker, I'm gonna say sure it is.
Probably.
Yeah, Santi's nodding. Maybe, yeah. Okay. The first use case, we're just going to rip through use cases, and the use cases in themselves may be interesting and useful to you. The concepts and the ideas behind the use cases may be even more useful to you. So mostly you're going to see us do things, and you can say to yourself, "Wait, that's cool. I could also do this." Think about X, but think also about X plus one, because there are probably things that you can do that would go beyond these. But the examples we hope will give you ideas. Here's the first one, and I did this with the client this morning. This is like just so fast and interesting. The idea is this: we all publish, but we can't publish everything, so we make choices about what to publish. And as you've made those choices many times, I've been a content marketer since 2007. I haven't published everything, certainly. What have I missed? There are things that I've never written about, but that I've written around, that I've written nearby, like the little topical gaps. So I'm going to ask AI to help me find those topical gaps. Fundamentally, I'm just exporting a list of the title tags of all of my content here. You could probably get that from other places, but but you'll see how we do it. This screenshot shows everything you need to export the report. Dana, I wonder what you think. My new way to try to teach GA4 is to just mush everything onto one screen and then draw little boxes and arrows.
Honestly, that's how I teach GA4 a lot of the time too, so I think that's fine.
Yeah, I did this today.
I think the big thing is making sure that you have a consistent title tag, or, and if you don't have like /blog, if all your blog posts are, for example, the root path, then that's going to be a problem. The only other thing I would add to this would be a secondary dimension, which is that little plus symbol next to page title and screen class, where you can export the path, although maybe that's on your next slide. I don't know.
No, I don't have that on here, but I am filtering for path on the right. But that's the idea. This is, and this use case, you can tell immediately is difficult if your content marketing program is not all in a common directory. You've got bigger problems, and Dana can help. But I'm just setting the primary dimension, the dropdown above the first column, to page title. I'm adding a filter to focus only on the page titles for which the page path contains the word blog, because that's where my content lives. It's all inside a directory called /blog. So what do I have? I've got all my articles. Okay, I can click apply, and then I'm going to click export. And I'm going to take those articles out of ChatGPT or out of Google Analytics, download them to CSV, and then this is an important step because there's structured and unstructured data in the world. Google Analytics data is mostly good, but do AI a favor and save it the step and rip out those top 9 rows because they're comments and not helpful to the AI or your analysis method. So every time I export something from GA4, I'm going to delete those top 9 rows. You watch me do that again and again today. Then I'm just going to upload those to ChatGPT with a simple analysis prompt. So the idea here is that I'm telling it a role and a goal. You're a content strategist. You're skilled at using data to identify gaps in a content strategy. Sufficient, perfectly fine. I'm giving you a GA4 report showing the title tag of every article on a blog, describing the upload. It probably knew that. Infer topics from these title tags, then perform a semantic distance analysis of these topics and identify 10 topics that do not appear in the data set, but they do align well with the content here. So those words, semantic distance analysis, are useful in this example. I'm basically trying to find gaps in my content strategy. Okay, it comes back. It found a little issue and it worked past that. This was Dana's first point just now. Title tag, of course, gets changed depending on the person's browser settings. So there was a lot of non-English stuff in there. I probably could have scrolled down and deleted all the rows that had just like very few page views. In this case, it did that for me. Next time around, I'll probably do that extra manual step myself, but it got past that. And then, wait, what? I didn't write that? I thought, wait, I swore I wrote that article. This is a gap analysis showing the things that I've almost written but never written. Obviously, GA4 doesn't have this report. It doesn't tell you what things you've almost written but never written. But this kind of gap analysis is very useful. And if and my thinking around AI, I could put in a slide for this. I'm sort of uninterested in using AI to find efficiencies, but I'm very, very interested in using AI to find deficiencies. In my experience and my personal philosophy for this tool is that gap analysis is one of the best things you can do with it. I can give you 100 examples. I don't need it to write me articles, but telling me what article to write is a fantastic use case, because if I wrote one of these, imagine the advantages I'd have in content. Well, got a bunch of images on the related post that I could easily repurpose in here. Examples, data. Well, I could see who shared that last one and the related ones, and go maybe incorporate them into this content, get contributor quotes from them, which I've done with Dana a million times, and other just people to work with, influencers, even editors. If this article is adjacent to another article that I know an editor liked, I am inches away from saying, hey, Santi, I wrote another one that's kind of like that. I know you like that one. What do you think? Do you want to maybe collaborate on this thing? Or could I write this for you? Or do you want to update that thing you made that referenced the other one? And then finally, it's an internal linking bonanza, because you're basically discovered an invisible content hub that almost existed, and now you're going to fill in that blank. That's the idea. That's the idea. But yeah, I like that idea. But that idea to add a secondary dimension, you're going to see me, Dana. I'm going to add some other secondary dimensions here in a bit, because I love that feature very much.
Something else you can do too for the translate. I find that if people are using Google Translate, the host name for any Google Translate is .goog translate or something like that. So if you add another filter for your host name specifically, that sometimes gets rid of most of the auto-translated stuff.
Not related to ChatGPT or AI, but the host name is a big unlock for a lot of people once they realize, like, hey, I can't find this URL on my website. I keep searching, I can't find it. I'm doing site search as a search operator, and like, where is this thing? Oh, it's in a subdomain. If you've got such an architecture that you have content that lives at something.website.com, you can just confirm that or check that anytime by adding the host name as a secondary dimension. I love the host name secondary dimension. They're very useful. Okay, moving on. Next use case. Which topics will perform well in which channels? Now, there is such a thing as a topic channel fit. This is absolutely true. Anyone that's done this for a while can tell. Certain things work in search, certain things work in social. Long form, how-to, question answering content that meets expectations works in search. Provocative, collaborative, visual content that is a little bit unexpected works in social, right? Visitors from search are busy. Visitors from social are bored. You can maybe see the difference. And a skilled content strategist can look at a piece of content and say, that likely has an advantage in this channel or that channel. This is part of the job. This is what a content strategist does. Show me a headline and I'll give you a perspective on where I think that might work well. Maybe how it could be adapted to work well somewhere else. But your analytics actually has all this inside. It has all the topics, and it has all the channels, and it has all the performance in all those channels. So this one, again, mashing all the settings here onto one screenshot. Take a screenshot of this and make your analytics look just so, and you'll get the same insights. I'm on the page path report. I'm choosing a longish date range because I want a lot of data here, and we're just looking. I don't need accurate data that much anyway. Actually, I'll make that a question. Dana, you're watching me do gap analysis and look for insights and do analysis.
Yep.
How important is accuracy of my Google Analytics in these cases?
I mean, when you're looking at, on one of the first report, you had an export of key events. So I would say, like, make sure your key events are actually key events. I just delivered an audit this morning before this of someone who had, I think, people looking at someone's profile as a key event, like not getting in touch, just like looking at it. It's like, well, that's not really, like, I want to know if they looked at a partner page, but I want to know if they actually like tried to give you money. So I think it's important to just make sure your key events make sense before you use that as the basis of what you're doing. Yeah, and the other thing too, actually, and I want to point out on the screenshot here, you have session source as your secondary dropdown. I'd almost be
Hmm.
tempted to use source medium only because if you're
Hmm.
doing any paid on social media, I
Sure.
might not want, I want ChatGPT to have that context of like, well, we got a lot of traffic for this because we paid for placement on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, not just the session source. But if you're not doing any paid on social, then session source by itself is just fine.
Totally agree. That would be a big upgrade to this because uh, ChatGPT is not going to get exhausted looking at extra data.
Mm-hmm.
It'll just give me more insights.
Yeah, just
I
load her up. You
absolutely should
got
change.
4,200 rows here. ChatGPT can handle it. You
No
wouldn't.
problem.
Yeah,
Yep. Well, let's
you
triple
try.
that. Yep. uh, and thank you for your point about key events. If you don't have key events set up on your analytics, you're only measuring the cheese, not the mousetrap.
Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest possible gap I can imagine. And I mean, by my definition, it's not really a key event unless the person touched a keyboard. I mean, the conversion is they changed their status. They were a visitor, now they're a
Yep.
lead or customer, subscriber or donor or applicant or registrant. All of
Mm-hmm.
us converted to be at this event. Yeah, so that drives me crazy when people set up key events to be like a view of something. You get that data's there already. Why are you adding that?
My favorite, and by favorite I mean my least favorite, in case the sarcasm isn't clear, is when people call an event a form fill, but it's actually just a view of a contact page, which I see so many times from agencies. Like, come on,
No.
we can all do better. Stop it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, page visits. That's a
Mm-hmm.
conversion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I got a long date range. I set my primary dimension, my first column to be page title. Sufficient for this. Secondary dimension, click the blue plus and add not what I did, but add what Dana said to add the session source medium, because more data, more insights. I'm going to add a filter. Now, I exclude direct traffic because I'm sorry, I really don't know how to do analysis for direct traffic. It's kind of like the black box. It's the everything else. It's people who came from apps or people who had it bookmarked or what. It's like my point of view is I don't want that because I don't know how to align a topic with direct traffic.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
Yep. No, I
agree?
would agree. I would agree. Filtering
Okay.
out direct traffic gets a lot of noise, gets out of a lot of
Yeah.
noise here. So I think that's smart.
Yeah. What is that? I don't, when you understand truly what direct traffic is, you really start to deprioritize any type of analysis that involves it.
Mm-hmm.
There are exceptions, and I know some of you may be lighting me up in the comments, and I welcome that. And then I've also focused on my content once again. Now, look at this report. This shows what worked how well, where. Now, a human can scan through this and try to find some insights, and I, as a human, have tried to scan through this and find insights many times in my career. But we have a tool now, a helper, a thought partner that can do this for us. We're going to click the export button. Export to CSV, delete the top 9 useless rows. And I'd argue that some of these columns over here, if I'm looking for topic channel fit, I took out these because there wasn't just much data in there. These are articles. They're not really, I maybe could have left it in. In this case, I also might have taken the time to go down and delete all the ultra low traffic rows. But looking at this now, I see my obvious gap. I really wish this was source medium. The next prompt, so you can imagine, you're a content strategist. So we upload the file because we have the ChatGPT Plus account or the Claude Plus or whatever they call it, the Gemini thing, whatever. We upload the file. And here's the prompt. You're a content strategist, analytics expert, skilled in using data to discover which topics perform well in which channels. Content strategy challenge. I'm giving you a GA4 report that shows the performance of content across various traffic sources for a blog targeting zookeepers. I'll just go ahead and name the topic. I could also give it my content strategy or content mission statement here. That wouldn't hurt a bit. And then using this data, suggest 10 new topics for articles on this blog that align well with these traffic sources, because now the AI knows what works well and where. So hypothetically, and these are synthetic data slides, so you're not going to be blown away by the insights, but the point is, based on your own data, your own content, and your own visitors all interacting, the patterns that come out of that are identifiable to AI look like this. That topic will likely work well in this channel. It even suggested a keyword for it. Similarly, that topic will likely work well in that channel. Actually, it chose a source. We got the source right there, right? Yeah. And similarly, that topic is kind of the same kind of thing, topically similar to the things that have performed well with your newsletter and your subscribers for your audience. So that is a type of analysis that really I don't think a human can easily do. This one's about alignment more than gaps, but it is suggesting new ideas. And that is the job of the content marketer. It's not to publish, but it's to publish and promote. And smart content strategists know that you should give yourself every possible advantage. And one of those is to align topics with channels, and topics with formats, and topics with formats with channels. This is the game. You've been doing this a little while. You're fully aware. All right. I'm going to move on. I'm going to do one that's pretty advanced here, Dana. I'm going to try to impress you.
I'm ready. I'm ready to be impressed. Hit me.
I don't think you'll be impressed. I'm going to do what I can't. You could do this in Excel, and I used to do this in Excel, and you have R and other programming languages, and you're probably writing this kind of thing in Python or something. But I'm just going to use ChatGPT because I'm not very good at Excel. And it's going to kind of strengthen my muscles about prompting and getting used to providing AI more data. This is an article, and this article has a conversion opportunity in the sticky footer, which means you can go directly from this article to the newsletter sign up thank you page. That's the conversion. They typed in an email address. They changed their status. They were a visitor, not they're a subscriber. But the path from that is simply from the article to the thank you page directly. So if your UX is different than that and there's an intermediate page, you could still do this. You'll just have to adapt it a bit or ask Dana, she'll help. Here's the thesis. If that many people saw the blog post and that many people move from the blog post to the thank you page, then you can calculate, there's your numerator, there's your denominator, the conversion rate from that specific article. I'm about to calculate exactly which of my articles is the most inspiring, compelling, which of my articles grows my email list. This is measurement of content by a standard of quality that few marketers ever attempt. I could name a marketer you know that can tell you the conversion rate of their highest of their specific articles. Almost no one can, right? No one really does this. And it's not even a report in analytics. It's a calculated metric. There's not one report that shows both of those two numbers. So that's the whole idea. Conversions divided by traffic equals the conversion rate. Did I get that right? I think so. I sometimes flip those. So I have to get this from two reports. I'm going to upload two reports to AI this time. First, I'm going to go to my, and by the way, I'm going to do this for content marketing. You could do this for PPC landing pages. You could do this for whatever. I mean, it's, these conversion rates are really useful for the content marketer, but, I can easily imagine attendees here to DudaCon adapting this for their own methods. So we have the pages report. I'm going to set a long date range because I need a lot of data for this one. There aren't that many conversions from some of these articles. And then I'm going to create a report that simply, once again, focuses on that directory /blog. Okay, that's it. I got traffic to blog posts, right? That's my denominator. Now I need another report, export it. I need another and clean it up. By the way, I don't need the /blog page. That's not, you can't really convert from there. And I don't need all these other things. I'm just looking for the sessions. This is the report. That's one of the numbers in the calculated metric. This is just the number of times each one of these pages has been loaded, right? That appeared on the screen. And then my second report is a bit different. It's a pages report with the same exact date range, with a secondary dimension for page referrer that shows where people came from. And the filter zeroes us in on the thank you page. I think this one's interesting. Dana, you can see I'm doing this without even having a key event set up. Is that weird?
No, I don't think that's weird. I think too, what I like about this is that it's really accessible for people who aren't like, I don't want to learn Google Tag Manager, which is fair, honestly. If you have a thank you page, if you have somewhere that people go, then this is a great, easy analysis to do without having to learn anything advanced.
Could you do this all in GTM?
You could, and I would probably look at audiences, because one of the things I want to point out here actually is if you flip back just a couple of slides before you to the first export that you did. Yeah. So, one more. Sorry. Nope. Wait. Actually, this is fine. Okay. So, what I want to look at here is you've got your dimension of page path and screen class. I want to point out something really important in GA4, which is called scopes. So you can see engagement rate has an average of 0%, Key events is 100% of total, and the session key event rate is average 0%. Why is that? Well, that's because the scope of page path and screen class is called event scoped. So it is at the event level. And there's 3 different scopes in GA4. There's user scope, everything a user does. There's session scope, everything that happens in a session. And then there's event scope, which is an individual event. So I'm a user. I use, say, 2 different sites. I log in on both sites. I'm one user with 2 sessions. In each of my sessions, I visit 3 pages. I have 1 landing page and 3 page views in total. Engagement rate is only calculated at the session level, not the event level. So that's why it's showing up as 0%, because you have a scope that is lower than the scope of the metric of engagement rate, which is at the session scope, that higher scope. Key event occurs on that page, so it is 100% because it is event scoped. But the session key event rate, it happens across the session, so that's why it's back at 0%, because session key event rate is at the session scope, not the page scope. So if you had, say, your dimensions set to landing page instead of page path, you wouldn't have this issue with engagement rate and session key event rate. You got rid of those metrics, so it doesn't necessarily matter for this analysis. But in general, when you're in GA4 looking at this data, it's really important to make sure that the metrics you're looking at are at or below the level of the dimension scope. So if you have an event dimension scope, then you need to make sure that all your metrics are at event level. If you have a session scope, like landing page, then your metrics can be at the session scope or they can be at the event scope. So
I see event, session, and user scope at the when I create segments and explorations.
yes.
Without going into tons of detail, can I just generally just choose one of those as a rule?
Yep,
And
absolutely.
user?
I mean, I
Do I just
typically
choose user?
choose session. If you don't
Okay.
have logins on your website, which you don't have, I do, for example, on the Playbook site. So when you buy a course, you log in. I can track people at the user level, but most B2B sites don't have logins on their website. So a user only matters if you have logins on your website that you're tracking, or some other way to track
to know.
people across sessions. Yeah. So like Duda,
Very
for
interesting.
example, you log in, you can track
Right.
users, right?
I see.
So a session and a user is essentially the same if you don't have logins. And I would say in your mind, always think of a session as a device. Because if I visit
Right.
Orbit Media on my phone and on my desktop, you have no way to tie me together across those 2 devices. So really, I look like I'm 2 users with 2 different sessions, even though I'm the same person.
That's really interesting. And I assume that's all in your content at kickpointplaybook.ca?
It sure is, yeah. Especially the practical GA4 course goes into this in depth.
Thank you for putting that together and that explanation. Yeah, I think that's really interesting. That's the next level of GA4 for me. I'm not at that advanced level yet, but the scoping pops up for me sometimes, and I knew I needed to go deeper. So thank you for that.
Yep.
So this one, you can see everything I'm doing here. It's a pages report, same long date range. Page refer is my secondary dimension, and the filter focuses this report on the thank you page. I'm also focused just on the articles. So the theory here is that, I guess it's covered up, but this is the number of times that these articles sent visitors to the thank you page. This is the number of engagements and submissions to that sticky footer, more or less. So when I export this now, again, I've got to clean this up a little bit. I don't know another way to do this. You just clean it up. It's all a bit kludgy today.
Honestly, like maybe you could do a Looker Studio report, but like just delete the stuff. It's fine.
I know. Yeah. It's. I know that there's, and I'm even cutting out the first row. I don't really even need that. And then all these super low traffic rows. In this example, it's really important to delete these, because if a page had 2 visits and 2 conversions, it'll show 100% conversion rate, and that's going to be like this, visual noise inside your final analysis. So I cut those out. Also, probably doesn't matter, but I thought I was trying to help the AI out. I made the headers match more closely. Or they don't quite match, but I said this is conversions. Yeah, see, this is conversions, this is sessions. You can see I put them both on one screen here. One of these is a relative URL. One of these is the absolute URL, whatever you call it. So anyway, you have the data, the numerator, the denominator. Any skill, it's embarrassing. If you've got basic Excel spread skills, like if you could make a VLOOKUP, you're saying, Andy, why don't you just do that now? Why upload to AI? Well, there's 2 reasons. One, I'm a klutz with pivot tables and VLOOKUPs, and I don't really have the Excel skills, and I probably never will now that I have AI. Another is that if I want to take the next step past the report and go straight to analysis and insights, I would already be in AI. In any case, it's very simple. I'm just simply saying merge these as you would with a VLOOKUP. But anytime you ask AI to edit a spreadsheet, I've got a pro tip for you. Provide link to download, because it might rip out all the data. It might mess everything up. You have to check it. I don't really trust AI. I'm going to validate anything that I do. So anytime that you ask AI to manipulate data, check it. Provide link to download. So put them together, download the merged data, pull it up, looks good. That's it. Now here, obviously, even I could do the calculation, right? It's like it's a column C divided by column B, or vice versa, whichever. I'm just going to have it do it. I'm going to have it create a visualization. Using the merged data, create a bar chart showing the conversion rates for the top 25 blog posts. I suspect that few, if anyone, at DudaCon have ever seen this report. But what an insanely valuable report. It's literally forced rank the contribution to email list growth for everything inside analytics. And unsurprising, there you see that massive exponential curve. Every report in marketing is always this massive log scale curve. Never seen a straight line. It doesn't happen. So this is I've written some things that are literally like in the top 5, like twice as compelling and twice the contribution to my email list growth. And email list growth, by the way, is something we should all be prioritizing because it's disintermediation. There's 2 kinds of marketers: algorithm marketers and relationship marketers. SEO is algorithm marketing. You've got big tech in between you and your audience. You do not control access to your audience. Social media marketing, big tech is in between you and your audience. But email, events, webinars, word of mouth, referrals, like there's lots of types of marketing where there's no intermediary. So email is disintermediation. And one of my favorite outcomes in digital is to attract visitors from search, convert them into subscribers, and then have direct access to them over time. So I love this. And it makes me think of what Larry Kim taught years ago, which is that everything in marketing is either a unicorn or a donkey, as in things are super high performers or often very, very low performers. The idea being, if something is both high traffic and high engagement, just double down, triple down, do more of that. If it's low traffic and low engagement, maybe try it once more, but most of us are going to be giving up on that pretty soon. Anything that has high traffic but low engagement, well, those things you need to add more CTAs, add more internal links, make them more engaging, add video. And anything that has high engagement, you've seen these, right? It has a lot of engagement, but almost no one visits it. These are the ones, right? That's what that report showed. These are not high traffic articles for me, but these are the highest converting articles for me. These are the best mouse traps. I need to put my better cheese on them. Keep them in heavy social rotation. Put them on my homepage. Make a social media video to promote these things. Put paid dollars behind it. That's exactly the one. It's worth it. You proved it. Add these to your email signature. Send these again as another newsletter. Write a guest post for someone else and reference back to that original piece. And simply link from your highest traffic pieces to your highest converting pieces. The hard part is knowing what to link. But once you know it, you can improve conversion rates. You can grow your list faster just by connecting your best cheese and your best mousetraps. These things, once you put them together, like that's, the effects don't add, they multiply. Like these things have much. You have a few pieces once you discover them that have far greater conversion rates than the others. Okay, I'm going to keep going.
Can I suggest something that I would do with this
please,
as well?
Please,
Okay,
please.
so what you should do is capture the URL that people are on when they sign up for the newsletter, save it in your email tool. For example, we use Kit, or used to be called ConvertKit. And then when you go through that first analysis that Andy did, where you're taking a look at the stuff that you already have and what else should you write, know that it's related to this post. Search for everybody who signed up for your email list from the first post that is now going to be related to this new post. And then that gives you an extremely focused segment to send the new post to, because you already know that these people are interested in this other piece.
So how do you capture that when they convert?
A hidden field. Yeah. So I would put a hidden field on the form that would capture the current URL. You might already have this. I think you use MailChimp, right? So you might already have this in there.
Oh, we use ActiveCampaign, but I can imagine.
ActiveCampaign, yeah. Yeah, most of them already do have this. If they don't, it's an easy, you can add a hidden field. We use Gravity Forms on our website. It's just a basic hidden field that you can add under advanced fields. You just click on referring URL or current URL and it'll save it in there for you and then push it into whatever email program you use.
Really interesting. Yeah, I can imagine how. I talked about the topic channel fit. That's the topic user fit. I love it. Thanks for being here with me, Dana.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for
I know you
asking me to
partner
be
with
here.
Anton and Duda a lot. Yeah, but I was like, Dana. They're like, yeah, of course, Dana. I'm like, you want me to reach out? They're like, no, we got it. Catch on speed dial. Okay, I'm going to stick with email for another minute here and talk about how to drive it, analyze things by topic. It's content marketing. I know this is sort of weird. Every blog is basically like a reverse chronological pile of stuff. Yeah, you can tag and categorize them, but there's other ways to do that. And I'd like to do analysis to figure out which of my topics that I send as campaigns and newsletters get what kind of performance. So this is an example of me doing a little bit of email analysis. I'm going to start here in the traffic acquisition report. This is probably the other main report, right? Pages and screens, traffic acquisition. I think those are, I wish I had Google Analytics on GA4 itself, because my theory is that those are like 80% of the analysis is done in those two reports. Most marketers anyway. So I'm in the traffic acquisition report. I'm going to set a nice long date range, and I'm going to set the session to set the primary dimension to session campaign. Okay, great. Now, what kind of campaigns am I talking about here? You may have all kinds of different campaigns. I'm just focused on email campaigns for the moment. So email is a medium. So I'm going to set session medium to exactly match email. Remember, medium is the broad origin of traffic. Source is the specific origin of traffic. So when I teach these things, I tell people that's one you got to memorize. Just memorize that, please. You need to know that forever. Medium's the broad origin. Source is the specific origin. And then I'm going to apply that and take that out of there. I've got a year of data here. I'm not sure why it's not showing a bigger line chart, but anyway. Now, I'm going to cut out the first 9 rows at the top. I'm going to cut out the rows with low traffic. I might also, and I'm going to, I manually, this sounds crazy. I mostly, as I said, like to use AI to find deficiencies, not efficiencies. So I will happily do manual steps, like go through my campaigns and add personally with my own 2 hands, add the topics. I'm tagging them manually here. Probably you could get this out of an export if you've got a ton of content, but for me, this only took a few minutes. So now this report shows which campaigns drove what kind of engagement, what kind of traffic, and which topics they aligned with. When I upload this, the prompt sounds like this. You're an expert at measuring performance of campaigns using GA4 data. I'm giving you a report that shows the performance of email campaigns. Each campaign's been categorized into 1 or 2 topics. Draw a bar chart showing the performance of topics in terms of traffic and engagement. Pro tip, you're going to a meeting. I want you to have a great meeting, and I want people to listen to you when you're in your meeting. So bring a chart. They can't ignore me now.
People, stop showing tables. No one likes tables.
Yeah,
No
yeah. Tables,
yeah.
it's hard. Too much cognitive load. You got to market your marketing. Use every trick in the book to have a better meeting, to be more persuasive, to get buy-in, to be a credible expert internally. So it's really hard to ignore someone that has a chart. So have a chart. It will make you a chart. It made me this chart. This is actually very interesting. And when I've shown this to email marketers and social media marketers, they're not surprised. Some of you may be surprised. This bar chart shows a strange pattern. The topics that are great for traffic are not the topics that are great for engagement. The low traffic topics get higher engagement. The higher traffic topics get lower engagement. So it's a way to sort of back into the goal. You're marketing for an outcome, I hope. What is the outcome that you're trying to reach? And can you find the pattern that will help you align your activities and budgets and resources and calories burned with the outcome you're seeking? This one, it's a bit strange to me. A lot of people click and open those emails about AI and web design, but actually there is the engagement is much higher post-click on the content about content strategy and SEO. So you could go deeper. I could have a long conversation with AI about this. I could ask AI to suggest other topics. I could give AI more data. It's called ChatGPT because we're supposed to have a conversation with it. So I'd recommend having a longer conversation with it. But that idea here, we're going to maybe go deeper and say, suggest 3 high-performing campaigns based on this data. I also like this one. Suggest 3 totally weird, super unexpected, but very memorable campaigns that could still totally work out. Throw that tone in there. Ask it for things that are strange or unexpected. Look for counter narratives. If you just inject different types of words and stop talking like you're talking to, giving some fancy presentation. Instead, talk to it like it's your buddy. Hey, give me some weird ideas too. I want to hear the weird ideas. So this one comes up with these high-performing campaigns. These are likely to work based on what worked. This is not best practices. Best practices, this is going to sound strange. Dana, I'd love your point of view. Best practices are for people that don't have their own data.
Yes. Agreed. 1000%. Yeah. And people say, well, what's the best practice for this? No, what's your practice? It's not, if you're brand new, if this is your day one with your new business or day one with marketing, yeah, of course, you're going to look at some best practices. But this is not, we are not new. This is something where we have this benchmark data. Let's use it because what matters is what matters for you.
Yeah, because and not everyone has the same subscribers. Best practices are really just common practices.
Yep.
And properly thought of as just hypotheses. They're good hypotheses. That's a Brian Massey quote. Best practices are good hypotheses. So this is what worked based on your audience, based on your content, based on your timing, based on your topics, based on the subscribers on your list. You can see I made these a while ago. So what do you think? Next steps, disregard 2/3 of it. You're the marketer. You're the expert. These aren't correct. You're just brainstorming. It's just suggesting things to you. What about those super weird topics? Yeah, maybe. Okay, sure. Web design confessions, what we all get wrong. You can imagine like those things might work well. So just keep pushing it, keep asking it for more, keep asking it for things that no one would have thought of. One of my favorite prompts is, what are the most important topics that are missing from the popular blogs? You can do gap analysis on an entire vertical's body of work. Humans can't even do that, right? Try that one out. Or better yet, I'm a bit off topic here, but what are the most important things that my target audience doesn't know? It'll tell you. You can't get that out of a stakeholder interview. It'll tell you what the most valuable topics that your subscribers don't know themselves. Some of these methods are like AI only. Okay, this one is kind of a mashup. In a way, it's a bit more straightforward. I'm going to try to marry these 2 reports into a single report: the email service provider reports, delivery, open, click-through, and the GA4 reports, visits, engagement, average engagement time. I need to update that. Key event rate. And I'm going to attempt to make a single report that shows all of those things. For this, I'm going to combine data, not just from Google Analytics, but from, in my case, ActiveCampaign, Kit, whatever you use, whatever you like, whatever it sent your email. Because basically, this is inbox performance. This is website performance. But most people don't have a single report that shows, or charts that then analyze, the combined data across the full experience for your visitor, from their email program to your website and even to their thank you page. So I'm going to download a big date range of data from my email service provider. This is, again, ActiveCampaign, my ESP. And I'm going to go to Google Analytics. And it's sort of amazing this works. Okay, some cautions. You spotted it immediately, I'm sure. This may be sample data. What am I seeing up here, Dana? Did I lose you? Let me stop sharing and confirm that this is all still here. Hi.
Hi, we're here.
Okay, good. I'm going to share a screen again. I just was worried for a second. So I will soldier on. This is Santi. Can you see that?
Yep. I can see it now.
Okay, great. So this report, you get the idea. I'm doing the campaign traffic, but I'm adding a secondary date range of date. And I'm going to set the same date range as the email service provider. And I'm focusing just on emails. And when I export that, download the file, I can give that to AI and it can map together for me these campaigns because it has the date range. I'm giving you two data sets. They show the performance of both campaigns. I'm going to speed up. And I get to this final spreadsheet that has on one side the GA4 data and on the other side the ESP data. Look at that in one report, right? Provide link to download, double check it. And then the next step is to say, you're a digital strategist. What insights can you give me from the combined data, from the combined report? It comes back with some analysis that's kind of interesting. But how about we categorize these into topics and then tell me, in this case, I had it do the categorization. And then it correlated the topics with metrics. We started to get more interesting. Wait a minute. You can see each of these here, the SEO ones, open rate, click-through rate, that's inbox performance. Engagement rate, engagement time, that's website performance. It's already putting them together. Give me the insights from these. It gives me some insights. And then finally, the ta-da moment when you ask it to draw a table, draw a chart. Heat map matrix. That's another fun prompt for me. Draw a color-coded heat map matrix. And it just looks better at your meeting because you've got colors on it now. But the insights are strange because when I write about analytics, people don't love that email, but after they click, they love the page. When I write about content marketing, people love those emails, but after they click, they're not that engaged. So once again, there's a gap between performance with a single campaign. Things that maybe get a lot of engagement in the inbox aren't the ones that maintain that engagement post-click. Things that have super high engagement post-click maybe actually sort of struggled in the inbox. It kind of shows the level of motivation or the interest in the topic, how deep the visitor wants to go. Based on this data, what sorts of campaigns should be sent more often? What kind of campaigns should be abandoned? Suggest changes that would improve the efficiency of this email program. Based on the data, write 5 subject lines that would drive conversions. Wow. I'm going to do that again with the date range, and Dana, jump in anytime. I'm going to do more analysis with the GA4 date because this is special to me. I could not do this before AI. Maybe with Looker Studio, which I don't have any skill with. But this dimension, date plus hour, was useless to me. It's like, okay, we're looking at 8 a.m. on May 27th of 2023. Was that a Tuesday? Anybody know that? What was a Tuesday? Tuesday's not in analytics. There's no such thing as Tuesday in analytics. But what this report shows me, all it is the pages report showing a long date range. Focus just, here I just searched for it, focus just on traffic to the thank you page, but that date plus hour shows you precisely when visitors who touched that URL landed there. What day, what month, what hour. So when I export this and give this to GA4, I still have to clean up or give it to AI. Got to clean up those 9 rows. I'm going to clean up any useless columns. And now I basically have the date plus hour in the sessions. But that's just a string of numbers. It's like the matrix. Like I can't remember, what does that mean? It's just a bunch of numbers in there. But AI can understand that. It can take that out of there. And this prompt works beautifully. I'm giving you a CSV file showing the date and time of newsletter subscribers to a blog. Perform an analysis of conversions by day of week. Ever seen that chart before? What day of week do people subscribe? Wow. How about time of day? What time of day do people subscribe? You know what I'm doing next, right? The color-coded heat map matrix. Make a single color-coded heat map matrix showing conversions by time of day and day of week. Obviously, that's not possible in GA4. Maybe Dana's probably building this right now with her left hand on some other.
You can do this in Looker Studio, but you do have to know what you're doing. I find, again, like if you don't want to learn Looker Studio, I'm not going to judge you. I don't care. So if this is how you're going to do this, and this is one of the things that, I mean, Andy, you and I have the same thoughts on this. Like we want our teachings to be super accessible, which means that if I'm teaching someone how to do something, I'm not going to say, you have to use this tool, you have to learn Python or whatever crap. Like, just make it as accessible as possible. And then if you want to go from here and be like, you know what, I can do this in Looker Studio, great, you do that. It is possible to do in Looker Studio. I use it all the time, so I'm going to do it that way. This is your tool of choice. You're going to do it this way. I'm not judging. I think this is great. And I think the end output is more important than the process and how you got there. And I think a lot of marketers can kind of get hung up on like, well, look at this fancy tool that I used. I don't really care. I just want to see the end unit, which is this great analysis of conversions by time of day and day of week.
Yeah, it's I would actually say that Looker Studio adds more value, especially if it's a type of analysis you're going to be doing repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
But really, how often do I need this one? You know, it's this isn't like an every week report. I'm going to do the same thing again now with a different with a different landing page, a different URL. Here I'm going to do the same thing, just focused on the lead gen form. Someone became a lead. What time of day of week did they become a lead? Same method, same method, same method, same method, date plus hour, which I never used in all these years, right? I've used Google Analytics since it was called Urchin. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is
Me too. Yep.
Yeah, remember that?
And that's why people want to know. That's why it's called UTM, because it's Urchin Tracking
right.
Module. That's your fun fact for parties.
Internet trivia, UTM. Ask anybody. They changed. I think they tried to change what it means, but that's the history of that tag, that parameter. Okay, so when you export this, same data, clean it up, looks good. I'm giving you a CSV file for the time and date of conversions on a B2B lead gen website. Perform an analysis by day of week. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Friday is my worst day of week for conversions. And this is based on thousands of leads. Perform an analysis showing by time of day. By the way, these incremental steps toward a fancy report, I think, help the AI a little bit. If you overload a single prompt, it might not be as reliable. This is the time of day when people on this website tend to convert, fill out a contact form, land on a thank you page. Create a single heat map matrix showing conversions by both time of day and day of week. I find this very interesting, and I think actually somewhat practical. I immediately had ideas once I generated this. This is basically predicting in advance, like when people will become leads. But let's ask AI what it thinks we should do with this. You're a B2B lead gen strategist skilled at using interesting types of data to discover new opportunities to improve the flow of qualified leads. Make 5 recommendations, could have made it 10, for better B2B lead gen based on this data. Optimize campaigns for peak days. Those are the days when you should be cranking up your ad budgets. Those are the days when you should be publishing, promoting, sending. Target high conversion hours. Those are the days when you should do outreach. It has this other idea, experiment with off-peak strategies. I'm going to disagree with this one. I don't think it's that effective to try to get visitors to do something that they weren't going to do. Like, that's just, it's like, oh, there's no wind blowing, I'll just put more sails over there. Like, that's not how sailboats work. This one I love though. Enhance lead nurturing during peak times. Have sales reps available for faster response times, or do automated follow-ups at those times. That's actually quite interesting, right? And I think there's a huge gap in marketing in that alignment between marketing and sales. And this is one of those reports that may actually bring you closer together, break down silos, and encourage collaboration when we say, hey, most of the, a disproportionate percentage of leads come in at this time of day of week. What do you think? And have the conversation.
Mm-hmm. And if you use something like call tracking, you can layer that on top of this to say, hey, you know what, your unanswered rates are going up because you don't have enough people available on this day. So can you hire a part-timer to cover Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yeah. I know a LinkedIn ad strategist, AJ Wilcox, who says that if you know that there's a time of day of week when conversions are low, you can save money by just turning down your ad budgets. He says, don't pause the ad groups, just turn them down to 1 penny, because if you turn them off, it takes LinkedIn's AI several more days to get used to the thing again or something. Like, there's a technical reason why you shouldn't turn them off completely. So here's the takeaway, and this is more research from Harvard. The AI has a magical power to partly erase technical skill gaps. It makes commercial users, commercial professionals, sales, marketing, the customer service people, as good or close or better at technical skills, allowing them to approach the skill levels of the R&D, more technical people. So bottom line, when we're using AI, the takeaway here, and we just focused almost completely here on GA4, but really it's any export button. You use SEMrush? Ooh, an export button. You're in GA4, obviously. Wait, there's an export button. You're in LinkedIn. Hey, look, an export button. Time to get excited about export buttons. You like Moz? I like Moz. There's an export button. Anytime you see an export button, get excited. You've got an opportunity. Santi, are there questions? Because I have another 3 minutes on an adjacent topic, but let me pause.
Yeah, let's go for it. Let's do the 3 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got just about that much time.
Great. I think I actually need to stop my screen share. So let me bring that back. Share screen, present, share screen, entire screen 2. Here's my latest thinking on AI. This is the proficiency levels in AI. When you discovered it, you tried it, it wrote you a poem. Lovely. You're a user of AI. But then you realize that AI can help you write prompts, and you can ask it to create a prompt rather than just writing your own prompt. But then, yes, prompts must be tested. If it worked, great, you got a better response and you got a reusable prompt that you can share with your team. You're moving up the proficiency levels in AI. Now you've learned to take your reusable prompts and give them lots of inputs, give them lots of reports. That's what we did today. We're uploading all kinds of stuff. And the responses you get back from that are way, way more interesting, way more useful. You're learning how to load AI up with many more things. Eventually, and what Dana and I started to do there almost intuitively was to put things together into a sequence where that response, you gave it the report, it gave you the analysis, you give that analysis to the next report, and it writes the outline for the article or whatever you're doing. That's the AI process developer. It's integral to your process. You're using it in many more steps. And then suddenly, wait, why am I copying and pasting all these prompts? Let me just put them together into an automation. If you have not yet built a custom GPT, that's next. Learn that skill. You will immediately differentiate yourself from the other job candidates or marketers or professionals or internal employees. It's a wonderful feeling. It's like, I've made something. This is my intellectual property. This is a huge competitive advantage. And then you can share that with the team. The Danas and the Christopher Penns of the world are building agents that go do things on the internet. They leave AI and they go send emails, they write reports, they generate things. They're far, far more useful. That's the next step. That's beyond me. But agentic AI, if you haven't used the words yet, you're going to be using it 1 million times in your career. And then the final step is the AI boss. You're a manager, and these are your digital employees. You're overseeing artificially intelligent labor, watching the inputs, watching the outputs, keeping an eye. This is all from an article I wrote about the level of AI efficiency, which I'm happy to share. But this is where we're all going. AI, you learned today, is one of your helpers for doing analysis and using Google Analytics. That's one step in a lot of steps, and you're going to have many different tools, many reusable prompts, many different automations, even agents, and overseeing these is the future of your job. Are you stressed? Are you excited? It just depends on how far you've gone. Some people feel disrupted. Others are excited about the opportunity. That's the difference. You're in charge of your skill set. Kudos to each of you for coming to DudaCon because you leveled up today. We hope this is useful. And time for any questions? Up to you.
Yeah, I think we've got about 30 seconds left before we have to start our next session. So I think we will move on, and I will just say thank you again to Andy and Dana. This was amazing. Thank you so much for going through all of those prompts. I've been taking screenshots this whole time and then sending stuff to my team. So this is very, very exciting and very helpful for us as content marketers. So again, thank you so much. And for those of you that are still on the line, our next session will be with our founders. So we'll have Amir, Itai, and our product team on. And I do see a couple questions about some things that might be coming up in the next session here. So we'll get to those in a second. So thank you again, Andy and Dana. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you soon.